Podcasting from Woodstock, Georgia, welcome to Soul Solutions, a show where we overcome our fears and our limiting beliefs. I'm your host, author, and certified life coach, Terry Kozlowski. Hello, warriors. Do you have issues saying no to others? Are you allowing drama into your life because you can't set personal boundaries? If so, you can take my online course, The Guide to Setting Personal Boundaries, on mastermind.com. The link is in the show notes. You can begin this year with less drama in your life. Episode 75. It's important to have the ability to finish. Why completion is powerful. Unfinished business lurks in the corners of your life. Incomplete projects, untidiness, mental clutter, or confusion are the ways it masks itself in your life. This disorder can weigh you down and keep you from moving forward with your goals. It's essential to have the capacity to finish the things in your life because there is power in completion. You are not as prepared as you could be if you don't conclude certain aspects of your life. And your brain keeps track of unfinished business. Therefore, you can't effectively move forward. So having incomplete tasks keeps you from being fully prepared to move forward into embracing new projects and living out your vision. Completion allows for clarity and keeps the creativity from getting blocked by stagnant energy. You need to bring closure to many incomplete things in your life so you can clear a way for the life you've envisioned. Make a list of items that need to be completed and tackle them. Only when you consciously take action steps required can you feel the power of completion. It's better to have 10 completed tasks than a dozen halfway done projects. Why? Because when you complete a job, it empowers you to move forward. When you free yourself of the mental burden of unfinished business, you'll be astonished at how swiftly the things you want in your life arrive. Why completion feels good. When you finish a project, it feels so satisfying. Likewise, your body actually gets an endorphin rush when you check something off your to-do list. And when you have lingering to-do items, they pester you. They fight for your attention over new tasks, especially when you see fragments of unfinished undertakings. So why are some people more productive than others? Because they consciously choose how they spend their time. Instead of starting a new task, they first decide to finish a project that was halfway done. And completing that item empowers them to begin a new job with vigor. So why don't you deal with unfinished business in your life? One answer I hear repeatedly is lack of time, or they're too busy. No offense, but we all have the same amount of time in a day. I think the reason for procrastination is that there's something you dislike doing. So by putting it off, you don't have to face unpleasantness. Whether it's the illusion of a good outcome lingering instead of admitting to the reality of the situation. Perfectionism is one reason project lingers. You keep the fantasy going since nothing can ever be perfect by not completing it. But unfortunately, it's a lie of the ego. And that keeps you stuck with incomplete tasks. Learning to say goodbye. Humans don't like endings because ego doesn't like change, but all aspects of life have a beginning, a messy middle, and a conclusion, especially if you're growing and developing as a human being. There's power in endings. Sometimes it's sad, other times it's a relief. Death is an end of life, but possibly the end of suffering. If it's sudden, then the lack of closure of the relationship can be problematic. But closure can be a double-edged sword, mainly if the ego stays attached to a particular ending it desires. For example, when my mother passed, my husband was concerned for me because she and I hadn't spoken in over 6 years. I reminded him I stopped talking to my alcoholic mother as an act of self-care. I was sad she passed and we wouldn't reconcile as I had hoped, but I understood she was no longer in her self-inflicted pain and turmoil. I also realized I wouldn't get the closure my ego wanted concerning her role in my abuse as a child. She would never tell me why she allowed my abuse to occur. Then I realized my ego kept waiting for closure instead of allowing me to detach from the past. Learning to say goodbye and letting go of the past allows you to complete the cycle all relationships have on healthy terms, recognizing that conclusions open up new opportunities. New beginnings happen after something ends. The ego uses incompletion. When you allow the ego to use avoidance to keep you from completing your self-created to-do list, it could mean fear is at play. Why? Because the ego uses your thoughts to keep you focused on what you're not finishing. Then you are fearful of the criticism of others who know you have unfinished projects piling up. Embarrassment, fear of failure, fear of consequences all come flooding forward when you have unfinished business. The ego keeps the incompletions playing in your mind. They nag at you until they get finished. The more you struggle, the harder it is to be free. All of this effort to deal with the tasks wastes time, energy, and diminishes your self-esteem. This lack of energy leads to stress, which causes sleeplessness, illness, and anxiety. All the pressure leads to avoiding dealing with the project that needs completion and most other mundane routine tasks. And then your lack of cooperation at home or at work can cause stress in your relationships. Can you see how the ego can use a simple item on your to-do list that you don't complete and turn it into a lifestyle that keeps you stuck? You become the underachiever because your lack of self-confidence to meet deadlines, but you can overcome the endless cycle of the ego. Tapping into the power of completion. Time to tackle that list of unfinished items. Review the list you made and determine why you haven't dealt with these things. And time cannot be the reason that you use. So dig deep and see what you don't want to do about the tasks. Once you understand why you've procrastinated, you can create a plan to complete the item. Maybe there are some things on the list that you determine you no longer need to complete. For example, old craft projects you were no longer excited about can be something you decide to cross off your list. When you consciously choose not to complete something, it's just as satisfying because it no longer is nagging you. Now, pick something on your list you've pared down to the items you want or need to complete and move it forward. I'm not telling you you need to finish it today, but moving it to the next step empowers you to feel accomplishment is inevitable. Once you obtain completion, you feel joyful and satisfied. And this is a simple way for you to build your self-confidence because it's where you build a deeper level of achievement. When you overcome a challenge, get past a hurdle, you gain understanding and courage to take on the next task. This fulfillment is the fruit of your personal growth. The power of completion actually pushes you forward towards your dreams. Moving forward to completion. When you feel overwhelmed, remember to take small steps. First, break down the task into smaller ones and move the item forward. Next, visualize how you plan to move through each step to completion. Then remind yourself each day that the item needs to be finalized and take the next step until it's accomplished. Success comes when the item is done, not started. Plan out ways to deal with potential issues before they occur. Do the tasks you don't want to do as soon as possible so it doesn't lead to procrastination. Remember that peace and satisfaction are on the other side of the undesired chore. Look for items you like to do and pepper them between unpleasant things. This excitement helps to motivate you through those things you don't want to do. In addition, this sprinkling helps the project move forward with more ease. Calendar when you want to do a task and plan to have it done. Then reward yourself for each job you complete, or give yourself consequences when you haven't achieved something. Using the scheduling will help you move forward to completing your to-do list. As you realize the power of completion and become conscious of how you choose to spend your time, you can alter it this year. Do you need help to complete your to-do list? Do you need support in developing ways to deal with procrastination and the egoic mind? If so, please get in touch with me and we can put together an action plan for you to feel the power of completion. If you want to learn how I discovered the power of completion, you can do so by reading my book, Raven Transcending Fear. The link is in the show notes, or you can go to raventranscendingfear.com. Thanks for listening to Soul Solutions with Terry Kozlowski. If you'd like the show and want to learn more, check out terrykozlowski.com, where you can find the links to everything we talked about in this episode. Please subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode as we overcome our fears and our limiting beliefs.